Hi, welcome to everyone. Hope you guys are doing great. Hello everyone. Welcome to this Evolve show number 7. I hope everyone is doing fine. I'm Hyroe, and today we're gonna talk about tech news, and we have amazing people in this instance, as we can see. We have also amazing guests right there, and let's first introduce Mr. Wolf.
Hey guys, I'm Wunder Wulfe. I do, of course, the tech news column. So if you got any tech questions throughout the show, you can ask me, or of course after the show. But I'm happy to be here. Happy to see everybody today.
We also have Lyra.
Hello. Uh, I'm a game developer. I do news about games, especially VR games. I make games more than I play games, but yeah, can't wait to share the news with you guys.
Can't wait. We really want to see what game it is. And also we have Slime VR. Applause here. Applause in the instance.
Hello.
So yeah. Uh, also, if you are in this live stream right now and not on YouTube, you can ask any questions in the chat, and I will ask them to the guests or any person here. So like go in the chat in Twitch and also check the socials too on the website on the virtual show production website. There is all the social and everything. So yeah, that's it. We can start. I guess we can start.
And of course, if any of you guys
Awesome.
have questions, feel free to ask with like text box or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, it is your turn.
Hey, all right, Mike Colo. Hello. So, welcome to 2026, everybody. Hope everyone had a great New Year's. But let's start the year off with some great VR news. So, the Steam Frame, of course, everybody is excited about it. It's coming very soon. Well, it was going to come sooner, but a lot of things happened in 2026, even though it just started, right? So, the estimated price point, of course, is going to be a little bit on the more expensive end. It's going to be, well, we think it's going to be around $700 to $800 because according to Valve, it's going to be cheaper than the Index kit, but we don't know how much yet, especially after all of the RAM stuff and all of the AI stuff raising the prices. Nobody likes it, but it happens. It's going to be standalone, of course, and it's going to run SteamOS, which is, the same thing that the Steam Deck is running. And it can be streamed wirelessly from the PC directly, or you can use a dongle so that you can get even more direct connection and less interference. And it supports Steam VR overlays, VR games, and flat screen titles on standalone through FEX, which allows it to basically run all of those games as if it was on Windows, theoretically, even though it runs, the Linux based system. But, it's also going to be compatible with the Steam machine. I believe it's not going to need the dongle. So if you have the Steam machine and the Steam frame, you should be able to just use them. It's also going to be compatible with the Steam controller. You'll actually be able to see it in VR because it has little IR LEDs on it. Same thing as the controllers themselves. Of course, the release was delayed, so we don't know when exactly it will come, but it's going to come sometime this year, hopefully. As for the specs, it's a 2K LCD display. Could have been OLED, but that's fine. It's a good display. And it's 72 hertz all the way up to 144 hertz experimental mode, just like the Valve Index. It's got 16 gigabytes of onboard RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, up to 1 terabyte, depending on the model that you purchase, pancake lenses, of course, 110 degrees of field of view, so relatively wide. It's the same as the Pimax headsets, I believe, the newer ones. Foveated streaming, as well as eye tracking, of course, so that it doesn't stream the entire video. It has a USB-C port on the rear for power and data. So if you wanted to connect it wired to the PC or charge it, it'll be back here. And there's also a front expansion port that supports, I believe, 2 cameras, as well as a PCIe lane, which is you can hook like USB stuff or something like that to it. There's also going to be constellation tracking controllers, just like the Quest, and it uses IR illuminators like the Quest 3S, so you can play even in the dark, unlike some of the Quest headsets. And it tracks the new Steam controller, of course, like I said, and it has the capacitive finger tracking, just like the Index controllers do. So if you like that, of course, the Steam controllers will have that. There is going to be, of course, dedicated dongles for the frame controllers, or you can plug it into the headset directly. I mean, it will work at the headset. So unless you want to use it without the headset, there will be a dongle for that. And they use a single AA battery for up to 40 hours of playtime. Of course, the index controllers were only 8 hours, so huge difference. There's dual microphones to help with noise canceling and audio quality, and is going to be 440 grams total for the entire headset. So it's pretty hefty, because the straps and the battery really add a lot to it. Now, there is one recent leak regarding the headset that we know of, and that there's going to be a full color pass-through module. So the headset doesn't actually come with pass-through. It doesn't come with pass-through cameras, just the infrared cameras that it uses for the tracking. But they will sell a module independently that you can stick onto the expansion port on the front to do full color pass-through, similar to stuff like the Quest headsets. So really excited for that. But interestingly, there has also been another headset announced near the end of last month, the Lynx XR2 headset. Now, this one has basically the same resolution as the Index, a little bit higher on the horizontal end, and it has a pass-through in the headset. Completely open source, though, running, of course, an Android-based operating system, the Lynx OS. And it has a maximum of 90 hertz, so similar to a lot of the other headsets out there. Not as great as, the Steam Frame, but pretty good. 16 gigabytes of RAM, same there. Has a little bit of a wider field of view, though, 126 degrees. So about 15 degrees more than the Index. The R1 version had 90 degrees, so big improvement there. The pass-through cameras are 10 megapixels, so not bad. And it's going to have hand tracking in the headset, as well as being a bit heavier than the Steam Frame and the Quest 3 and the Galaxy XR, weighing in at 550 grams, so half a kilogram. Big. However, it's not going to have any face or eye tracking on the device, and the pricing is going to be a little bit higher than something like the Steam Frame, about $1,000, more or less. So between the Quest 3 and the Galaxy XR in terms of pricing. There's also the other players in the VR industry like Meta, and they're actually taking some steps back from VR. Now, they don't want you to worry because they say they're not abandoning it, but it is a little bit complicated right now. So, they were originally going to release an ultralight headset and a Quest 4 a lot earlier than they are now, because the ultralight headset has been delayed to 2027. And that one's more for like watching content and like wired content. And the Quest 4, which was the gaming focused headset, which is also a large upgrade from the Quest 3, has been delayed till 2027 or later. And there's also a limited edition Malibu 2 device, which is coming this year, likely XR glasses, so not VR related, unfortunately. In terms of the VR specific news, there has been an investment shift from VR to AI because, of course, Meta has to get into it. Everybody's getting into it, unfortunately. Big bubble. So they're scaling back and they're rebuilding a lot of the VR parts of Meta. And the pricing model may also change because they do want to make sure that VR is a little bit more profitable than how it's been in the past for them. So things might be a little bit more expensive this time. And 10% of the Reality Labs staff, which is the team that makes VR-related stuff, has been laid off at Meta. So it's complicated there. In terms of games as well, there have been 3 studios that they closed this year. Twisted Pixel, which made Deadpool VR, Senzaro Games, which made Asgard's Wrath, and Armature Studio, which made the Resident Evil 4 port for the Quest. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully Meta can get things together. And the Supernatural Fitness Service, which is like an exercise program in Quest, will also no longer receive updates. Not aware if they're shutting down yet, but they will no longer receive any updates, unfortunately. Horizon Workrooms has also been completely discontinued starting in February. So it's already gone, unfortunately. And Horizon Worlds. So this one's complicated. So they originally said that Horizon Worlds was going to be fine, that they're perfectly fine, they're not changing anything. And then they said, well, actually, we're going to close the VR portion of Horizon Worlds. And then, due to backlash, they said that they're actually reversing that decision. They're just going to disable the ability to make new content for VR, which is still kind of lame. You know, it was really disappointing to see all this from Meta this year. So it's not actually completely canceled. The mobile version is still going to work fine, and you should still be able to access it on VR. But it is unfortunate that they're basically trying to like half shut it down. I know that it wasn't too successful, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot that they could have done with it. And it's kind of sad, really. However, there was also CES that happened very recently. And Pimax was there with their new Dream Air headsets. These are really cool. They're finally available to test at CES. They had many difficulties with the strap design, and hopefully this is something only with the prototype. From videos I've seen and from demos I've seen, the strap seems to have issues staying on, with attaching, it would sometimes fall apart, and it wouldn't fit properly. So maybe they will fix that in the future. I believe they're using a design similar to what the Apple Vision Pro uses, sort of a looser strap design with like comfortable pads at the back. So hopefully they can figure that out. And the face gasket is a little bit complicated. Doesn't seem to fit lots of people. It's a little bit too big right now. So maybe they will adjust that as it starts getting closer to market. And the price for it is going to be a little bit on the higher end as well. Pimax, of course. The price with the base station tracking is going to be around $2,000. And the price with the standalone version of the tracking with the controllers is going to be $2.3 grand. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive if you want the standalone version. And however, they do have really good concave lenses. This is something that is a hill that I will die on. These lenses were really nice. They have basically a curved surface on the inside. So instead of your eyes being smashed up against the lenses and maybe getting scratched from your eyelashes, they go around. So there's a lot more space there for your eyes without having to contact the lenses. And the weight is a lot lower than many of the other headsets as well, at 170 grams. And the display is really nice too. 4K per eye, micro OLED, 110 degrees field of view. So same field of view as the frame, but of course the display is a lot better. Hopefully the lenses are too, compared to the same frame. Obviously, we haven't seen too much of it. Maybe when it releases, it'll change, but we'll see. We'll have eye tracking in the headset as well as hand tracking. There is also the SE version, which is basically their light version of the headset. Not much changes. The display is going to be half as big at 2K per eye with 105 degrees field of view, but it's still micro OLED. And the price for base station tracking on the SE version is going to be $800, and the price of standalone SLAM tracking is going to be $1,200. So it's a lot cheaper than the other version, and it weighs a little bit less as well at 140 grams, but don't be dissuaded too much by it because it still has eye and hand tracking despite being the light version. There was also this very interesting ultralight headset that showed up there from Play for Dream MR. So I've seen that they've made a lot of prototype headsets, a lot of more expensive headsets, but this one was really interesting because I have not seen a lot of ultralight headsets recently. This one's around 100 grams. Of course, this is going to be a fully wired headset. It uses 4K micro OLED panels, very similar to the ones that the Pimax uses, actually. And they have a brand new chip, I believe, from Gravity XR, designed for standalone SLAM tracking. So they don't have to have as much bulk, as much compute, as much processing power to do the camera-based tracking, which is really nice, and it helps enable these ultralight headsets. Of course, currently only used for tethered experiences, similar to the Big Screen Beyond. And it reminds me a lot of the ultralight headset that was planned from Meta. So hopefully, you know, they can come up with something too, instead of just disappointing us all this year. It has a lower field of view at 100 degrees, but it does look very promising. Speaking of VR devices, there's actually a lot of new things to talk about. Of course, last time we had FlexPose, but luckily for you, we have special guests here today to introduce their new Slime VR butterfly trackers. So hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hello, hello.
Thank
Doing
you for
okay.
having us here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So what do you guys do at Slime VR?
Oh God, that is such a loaded question. It's a small company, so like the
Yeah.
hats come off on and off. But I mainly do like social
Yeah.
media, content like the creator program. I manage projects internally. Whatever needs picking up, I help around with.
Mm-hmm. How about you,
Yeah,
Zio?
and I do the event coordination. I do hosting for various events, help teach people how to use the slimes, and do a lot of testing of the slimes themselves. Bug testing, things like that, and kind of just a little of this, a little of that. But I keep my fingers in everything. So yeah,
Yeah,
fun.
that's awesome. So I
Nice.
know I had a lot of questions about the butterfly trackers because they do look very interesting. I know I have not seen trackers that small. That is an achievement in of itself. So can you tell us a little bit more about like the form factor? Because this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, like absolutely. So, like the trailer said, they're 9.3 grams, which about
Ooh.
0.34 ounce, I think, if I just quickly remember, and they're less than 7 millimeters thin. And they have this foldable design, which means you can wear them flat against your body, like Xerox has on the avatar. I don't know if there's a camera that can actually see them, but they are
Yeah,
wearing
maybe
like
the one on
3D
my
models of
chest you
them.
can maybe see.
And if
Yeah.
you need them to be like even smaller footprint, you can fold them in half and wear them that way. So
And I've
form
heard
factor
you.
wise, they're a lot smaller, and yet way more battery life than our previous version of the product, or like
I see.
previous generation.
And I've heard you guys use Velcro or something like that, and you also have like
Yes,
suits
yes.
for
Instead
attaching
of
them.
the usual strap loops, we went with a Velcro design, which, God, this is going to be a mouthful. What we wanted and really like stipulate with, I think stipulate's the correct word, with like stimulate with this project, is creativity and a aftermarket support for the product in terms of wearability, because usually trackers come with straps, which ours will come with straps in the box, which have a loop side on one and a grippy side on the other, and the trackers themselves have the hook side on it. But instead of just using straps, which aren't the most comfortable all the time, you could make things like one of the things we include are belt clips. We've experimented around with VR suits, like a DIY VR suit, which can be like 20, $30. You can have your own full DIY suit, so you never have to worry about straps, never have to worry about the straps slipping off. You can put trackers in more difficult to reach locations, and even when you stretch the fabric out, I'm not wearing one right now, but like just imagine the cuff. Even if you stretch it out, it usually goes back into shape, so trackers always stay put. Another good benefit of the trackers form factor right now is because they are so small and so close to your body, they do give a way more accurate estimation of the motion as well, because they're that much closer to your body, which is a good thing.
Mhm. How about
I wanted to I wanted to quickly like mention you just before, because we just came out of the news segment.
Mhm.
You mentioned the Steam Frame a bunch. We will have our software on Steam and Steam Frame supported standalone, like
Ooh.
right off the get go. We already have it working. We showed a couple things on Twitter, including pass through, because the thing doesn't have, like, the frame doesn't have color pass through, but it does have black and white pass through. So if you want to see
Mhm.
that, there is a clip on Twitter that we were allowed to post because Valve was nice enough to let us post it.
Nice.
But yeah, day one, the tracker should be fully working with the Steam Frame.
That's good. So for
Cool.
everybody who like
That's so
wanted to
cool.
upgrade or like started the
Okay.
Steam frame, it's just you just put it on and you run the software and it just works.
Correct. Yes.
Speaking of the just
Nice.
working part, I just want to bring up that these butterflies use a dongle instead of just a router with Wi-Fi, and this is a huge upgrade. A lot of times, people struggle a little bit with their Wi-Fi, and it's a little bit, if you're not like a tech user, routers and things can be a little complicated. Whereas these, you just plug in the dongle, and the trackers just connect to it, and you assign them, and boom, you're in. You're
Yeah,
ready.
they're just right
You
there.
can
Like
just,
you,
they're
even if
just
the
so
trackers are
easy.
off, you just press the button on the tracker and boom, it's connected. It's super fast. If you unplug the dongle, the trackers will turn themselves off. It's really nifty. We have gotten some concerns because there are people who have their play space a little. I wanted to touch on this because this is not an official feature yet, but some people have their play space a bit further away from their PC when they're using like virtual desktop, for example. We are looking into potential, maybe not like an official product, but ways to use the dongle wirelessly in some sort of fashion, be it a DIY solution or one that we're exploring right now is using our like our app on a phone, plugging the dongle into that, and having that phone over Wi-Fi send it to your PC with as little latency as possible, so you could still use it fully standalone in any room. We already have someone who got it to work over 5G cellular internet, and they full body tracked themselves walking around their entire neighborhood. It's super funny. But we
So
are looking at implementing
Oh,
like an official solution for this. So even in those cases, it would
that's
be
because
usable.
the dongle is like some sort of Bluetooth technology, correct?
Shock burst, which is not entirely Bluetooth. Like it's
Kind of adjacent.
similar,
Mhm.
adjacent. That's the right word, but it's not Bluetooth.
Okay.
So you couldn't just pair them directly to your phone. You would need the actual dongle in between. But that's just
That
USB, so that could plug into anything,
that also brings up the
including
question.
headsets.
So what if you have like multiple play spaces? Like let's say, of course, partners playing VR chat together. Does
Mhm.
that work? Is that supported?
Yeah. They're not. So the trackers themselves are just paired to a dongle. So it doesn't matter. They're not like because they're IMU tracked. They're like basically inside out tracked, without cameras. But like there's no external sensors going on. They have no fucking. Can I swear? I figured I'd ask.
I suppose so.
You can, like a specific amount, you can, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So because they have no clue where they are in space, because the only thing they track is its rotation based on where it started. Like that's why you do the quick reset before your play session. You put them on, you reset, which basically says this is your 0 point, this is where you are, and any rotation from it, just like this, any rotation is where it's at. So play space wise, you could literally take them anywhere, take them off, put them on in another room, doesn't matter.
Okay. How about the battery life? I know you guys commented on it, but you didn't exactly say how long. So how about
Up
that?
to
How long
50
is that?
hours.
What?
Yes, we put it in a device which continually spun it, like continually as if it was like worst case scenario. I think that was like 40 something hours, if I believe correctly.
Oh.
So under normal circumstances, I think our page currently says about 40 hours, 48 plus or minus. So
I'm assuming if you were
depending
like
on how much
sleeping or
you move.
something, it could last like 2 whole days.
You don't have to charge them
Damn.
often. Speaking of charging, they are USB-C. We do have a dock available, which is not included in base sets except for this Sakura Special Edition. But the dock can be purchased separately, but you don't need it because we opted to make the trackers themselves charge over USB-C.
Okay, I see.
Okay. Wow. We need that for the charity event. Anyway.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Are there any like improvements over the original in terms of like the hardware that's used, like in terms of like how it behaves or like the drift or like anything like that?
I can answer that one.
Yeah, I was going to say
I've-
yes and
yeah.
no. That's like not an entirely straightforward answer. I know that's not super satisfactory.
That's fair. Yeah.
You can probably, because you have done so many comparisons,
Yeah,
probably give a
I've been
good...
comparing. I've used these with a lot. I've used a lot of different slime sets. Third party. I've used the original slimes, and I've used now these butterflies for a few months now. The prototypes, I should be clear. And I
Mhm.
found them to be just the same level of tracking, like basically identical. They're really good for doing whatever you're going to be doing, like dancing, or I use these for yoga. I do yogas on every day. I do a yoga class, and I found them to be quite great for that actually, because as was mentioned earlier, they're very flat, they're very small, and so you don't really notice that they're on your body. Whereas the originals and a lot of these other third-party trackers, they're bigger, they're chunky, and for doing things like yoga and dancing, you kind of want to just not feel them on you. I would say overall, I like them. I use them all the time. So yeah, I mean, just my personal preference is I use butterflies because they're just nicer. So
Yeah, so to tap into that, specs wise, of course, the processor, like there's a processor on board. That one is completely new. That's the NRF chip that we're working with Nordic instead of the formerly ESP chip, which is more power efficient, uses the shock burst for the wireless technology. In terms of motion sensing, we're still using, because like when we started Slime VR originally, you had these Slime VR trackers before we have now butterfly trackers. In between, there was a revision from 1.0 to 1.2s, which we started with the BNO 085 sensor, which was at the time the best on the market, but it was also kind of expensive. at like, I think for us as a manufacturer, almost 15 euros per chip, if I'm not mistaken. They were kind of
Good lord.
expensive for, I think it was like 10 to 15 bucks for the single chip, around that ballpark anyways. They had another problem. They had a stomp bug. Like if you were to repeatedly stomp your leg, at some point it would just freak, like the sensor itself. We tried working with the company. They didn't really help all that much. So we switched to a newer, more modern, less drift prone, because drift, common misconception, drift doesn't mean that your leg just flies. It just means that slowly over time you would like rotate away like this. I'd say that is accurate. Not this extreme, like, and it would take quite a while for it to get that bad. Like, I don't know, hour or so. Because like I've been sitting here and like I'm good still.
Mhm.
But the drift is basically just because you keep rotating after a while, after rotating, it accumulates very small errors over time, and those build up. Like that error factor slowly builds up, and that's why it just like rotates away. Also, if you were to lay perfectly still, it's still going to rotate because that's the rotation of the Earth, which it also is able to measure, which is kind of funny. But that aside, we switched to the ICM chips, which are a newer, more accurate chip, and those are also in the new trackers, because that is kind of just the, without being extremely expensive, best on the market within this class. There is something coming up that we are looking at, but that's future. Like the industry
Okay.
keeps moving, and just like Slimes 1.0, if something better were to come out and it fits and we can keep the product at the same price, we'll probably implement it, because better product, same price. Like, who would we be not to?
Now, how about the
Um,
software? Has the setup process changed at all? Because like from what I remember, you have to let them warm up for a little bit before they can like start tracking like perfectly, and then you have to like do the poses and calibrate them. Do you still have to do all that, or has that changed at all?
slightly
Um,
differently.
a
I
little
think you
different.
can.
The software is improved. There is a new feature in the Slime VR server called Stay Aligned, which can
Oh
help
God, yes.
with standing and looking forward and sitting like we are now, and then sitting on the floor. For those particular poses, it can basically almost completely stop drift. So, like, I always like to give the example of if I'm in Popcorn Palace and I'm watching something and I'm just sitting here like this, I have gone up to 5 hours without having to reset. So like just and standing up and looking down and going, I don't even see any drift. I'm good. So that's one of the major big new features in the server software. And overall, there's been some streamlining of how the setup process is. It's kind of like a more straightforward, like you just follow the instructions. Before it used to be a little bit like you had to kind of learn, maybe watch a YouTube video, maybe kind of figure things out a little bit. Now it's a little bit more straightforward. You just go in, you follow the instructions in the server, it kind of leads you through the things, and you kind of get that. It's not to say that you can't improve over time. As one of the things that I always like to say is getting your straps, good straps can help, and having things affixed securely, like Smeltie was mentioning, having the butterflies be able to be Velcroed on and in the right spots every time. That helps a lot. So a little bit of it's a process of learning, but it's also like we're improving it as we go. And I think now it's much better than it used to be. Like when I first started, it was kind of, we didn't get an instruction manual per se in the
Oh
very
no,
early days of
no, this
Slime.
was
They just
DIY.
kind of, here's the stuff, here's the trackers, and go have fun. And we're like,
Clear on.
what do we do? Yeah.
No,
And
it
so
was an
now it's kind of
It
more,
was an
it's more
adventure.
polished. It really was. And now
And
it's a lot
it's
more polished.
getting
And
like there's
yeah.
still so much in the works as well, because like you had to usually, like, we had this thing called Autobone where you had to like do this little dance and do like the hip wiggles and the whole thing to calibrate. That's, I mean, it's still in the server, you can still use it, but generally not recommended anymore. Now we use like a base that should fit most people based on your height. So we do like a height estimation by like placing your controller on the ground, guessing, like making an estimation of your height. Based off of that, it just makes a scaled skeleton, which is close enough for most people to just be perfectly fine. Which you can fine tune, which we also do a lot during Xerox events. But that is already a big improvement. Another one that is in the works and has been in the works for a little bit, because it's very complicated. But for now, if you want to do like get set up in VR, just to give you a picture how I usually get set up, I put the trackers on my desk. turn them on. Whilst I do that, I start up the Slime VR software and start grabbing my headset. By that time, they've done their little quote unquote warm up and calibration. I start putting them on. I launch VRChat and then grab my Steam overlay, open Slime VR software, stand up straight, hit reset, give it 3, 2, 1, done. Then do a ski pose, click mounting reset, 1, 2, 3, and then I can stand back up and in VRChat do my little like calibrate T pose. That's it.
Gotcha.
Then I'm in. And anything after that is just when I notice that I've drifted a little too much. I can give an example. I can do a yaw reset, which if I look forward does this and it fixes it, but like I am actively off to the side right now. So let me quickly go back to where I was and fix it. See, there we
Nice.
are. So a yaw reset. So you don't have to stand up. You can do it sitting, laying, standing. It just basically you have to look forward, and in that direction, it'll correct for that. Because drift only really happens on the yaw axis like this, and not so much on any other like axis like that.
So I believe the last question I had in regards to the butterflies, or at least that I had, of course, was regarding the release date. So do you guys have one yet?
We are still
Or-
set for August right now. So the goal
Okay.
is to start shipping the first batches in August. Things can still happen. The market right now, especially with, I mean, look at the world. Geopolitically, things are
Yeah.
very tense right now, and things are happening. It's funny to note, and I think this as a story, I'll try to keep it a bit short. When we started Slime VR originally, the first chip shortage we ever ran into was IMUs. That was the first chip shortage that set us back months, actual months, just because we couldn't get our hands on it. It's ironic how the chip that we were using for motion sensing right now is also technically in a shortage. But this time around, we are one of the leading parties buying them. So we've kind of, I mean, not gone priority, but we've been on top of it. We hired someone specifically to do like sales and buying of parts, and they've been pounding like on their asses to just like, hey, we need this inventory. We have the cash. Like, get us the chips. And so far, for the foreseeable future, we are set. So
Nice.
not this time, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know if this table's made of wood. Anyways, yeah, the it's still set for like August.
Okay. Cool. So does anybody from the audience have questions? Maybe you guys?
Oh yeah, if anybody have questions, raise your hand
yeah.
or jump.
I think one thing that would be good to mention, price. I don't know if that's
Yes.
important. So they are, if you look at them on the spec page, because we don't do the 5+0 set anymore, the 6+0 set compared to the old trackers is $20 more. But that is because the dongle is included, which wasn't included in the original kit, and the dongle is about $20. So the trackers themselves, like trackers, cost the exact same. The set is just $20 more because a dongle needed to be included. So I figured that would be a good mention. But aside from that, costs the same.
And do you guys
Okay.
plan on like doing third-party stuff like you did with the original Slimes?
Yeah, it's still open source, so people are still free to make, do, so long as it sits within, like, if you want to properly sell, so long as you adhere and make a good product, you know. Yeah, that's
Okay.
totally cool. We have our marketplace. There's already people like, I think, Ibis doing
Yeah,
smalls
Ibis
as well.
slimes, Gorbit slimes, somatic slimes. There's quite a number of really good quality third-party sellers, and I have quite a number of those sets, and they all basically function about the same. But you know, everybody's got their own little twist on it. Somatic's got haptics included in theirs, but they're a little bit bigger, you know. So it kind of just depends on what you're looking for. And you know, overall though, because of the open source, I just love. This is the main reason I got into slime in the first place, is because it's open source hardware, open source software, and that makes it so, you know, the hive mind can get involved. So we get these brilliant people coming in, and they get excited about it, and they want to do their own thing with it, and we're all about it. We're just like, yeah, like, you know, bring
It
what you
also
got
means
to the table.
it also means your product is basically, even if you buy our product firsthand, like first party, even if you do that, the actual product will technically be supported forever. Because even if we as a company were to just be gone, you know, which it's not in the plans, don't get me wrong, but even if we as a company were to like perish for some reason, the actual product, because it's open source, people can iterate on it, people can fix them, you're allowed to repair your own products, you're the software, it's out there. Even if we stopped updating it, the community would continue updating it because they are. A lot of features are community made, so I think that's a big positive for us in that sense.
Mhm. I believe you had a question, right, John? Was it you?
I think I've seen
had a
2 people
question?
having questions. I think John had a question. Yeah?
Yes, I believe so. What was your question, Mister?
Oh, you have
Sorry,
voices
he
disabled.
asked. He
Yeah,
asked
because
regarding
otherwise,
the
yeah,
impacts
otherwise
from
it
the
can.
tariffs in the United States, if that impacts like the delivery or the price at all.
So we've already been dealing with tariffs for the last God knows how long.
Mhm.
Tariffs, it's a bit of a complicated situation because it is ever changing. Because tariffs were recently canceled again, and then reinstated, and then canceled, and then after cancellation, they still charged us tariffs for something, but we're not sure if we're still supposed to pay because they're canceled, and we might be getting money back from it. But as of right now, it's all unclear. But no, we've tried when the tariffs initially hit. We've tried our hardest to minimize the impact as much as possible. Like we had to raise prices because otherwise, it's not feasible as a company. Because hey, we're getting charged. Like shipment goes through, for example, like a shipment went through, and the tariffs on that are like, I think like $600,000, which fronting that as a company out of pocket that's insane. But we
Especially a
did
small business.
manage.
Especially like as a small business, right?
Yeah. So yes, it does impact, but not as much, luckily. Like the prices you see on Crowd Supply now are with tariffs and everything included. Like that's fully all done.
Okay, cool. And I believe we had one more audience question. Is that right?
Yep.
From you, Zach.
Over there.
Okay. What was your question?
Let me turn the microphone on so we can actually hear it.
So yeah, do we have to put the dongle on the headset? What was the question exactly again?
Yeah, so they asked if you like say the Steam Frame releases and you wanted to use it with like butterfly trackers, if the dongle has to be in the
Yep.
headset, for example. So the answer is yes, because yes, if you wanted to use like the app on it and use the dongle directly, you could plug it in. You could also just do a hub with power through and have it charge and use the dongle, for example. But because we're also if you're using it, for example, with full standalone, yes, you'd have to plug the dongle in. Or what I mentioned before, where we are looking if you can, for example, use your phone as a wireless repeater, so to speak, with a proper protocol and everything, use that to send it to the headset server and just have your phone sitting on a desk somewhere. That would be an option. If you do PC VR, you can have the dongle in a PC if you're in range, anyways. It really depends on like how you end up using it. But yeah, you could plug the dongle into the headset.
Yeah, because
That
I'm
would just
assuming
be a
it would
thing.
be a little bit awkward because it doesn't have a frunk. You have to kind of like stick it like
It
in
does
the back
kind
of
of
your head.
stick out the back, yes.
Yeah.
So I would probably recommend something like a hub that you can bend over, or we are looking to include, anyways, like a little extension cable, perhaps, or offer something
Mhm.
that is like a little USB-C
And you can like
extension.
clip it.
Yeah, something like that. But that's
Mm.
it's entirely headset dependent because every headset's different, and making something that one size fits all, there's no guarantees that that would become an actual product yet. But yeah, you could plug the dongle into the headset.
Okay. Is that all the questions on Slime VR or VR news? Good? Everybody's good? Okay.
Well, everything is good.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you a lot. And if you have maybe you will stay here for a bit. If you do,
Yeah,
if
I'd
you
be
still
happy
have
to.
any questions, you can ask them in the chat or raise your hand, and yeah,
You can also
go back
ask them
again.
directly afterwards if you're in the instance. Feel free.
Yeah, I was
If
gonna
you're
say I'll
fine.
probably stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy
Well,
to show them off. I'm
perfect.
wearing them, so yeah. If you want to see me walk around and do stuff, I don't have a lot of room right now, but I can at least
I was gonna
got
show
say
videos.
same. I have guests over, so there's like literally a mattress right here propped against the wall.
Which
I don't
which
have
is
space.
actually one of the good points about slime is you don't need a big play space. You can actually wear
No.
these and not worry about like, occlusion issues like you have with Vives where, if something gets in the way or blocked or, things like that. Slimes can be used, in a very small space and work fine. So that's one of the nice things about them. I really like it. They can also be used, if you didn't know, they can be used under blankets and they're basically just very versatile in that way. You, you can use them anywhere.
Yeah, not only that, that is one thing. They're not just for VR usage either. They can be used for mocap, they can be used for VTubing. I've seen people make entire Blender animations with like full body tracking. I've seen game developers. We have a game developer that basically comes over on a weekly basis to just help us develop the mocap because they're working on a game and they need proper mocap support. So that's been a big improvement on our part with their help.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
To
Okay. Yeah, I've
be able
played
to
around
work
with
with it.
mocap. I know what it is. Like, yeah, I've seen the Slime VR like supporting that. That's cool. Wow.
See examples
Okay.
of that in the Butterfly trailer too. I actually helped do some of the footage for that, and it's neat. It's really neat. So one of the things I'd just like to promote is I've been doing hosting for events for Slime VR for years now, and I do a lot of different types of things. We've done yoga, as I mentioned earlier. We do dancing. I like to do graffiti art. I've actually there's certain worlds that were custom made to do graffiti in, and it's really fun just to get in there and be creative in VRChat and have like art on the walls and everybody's just going for it, and it's really fun. Another thing we do, sometimes we do movie nights, we do just kind of hangout events, and there's a lot of just the community. That's what I wanted to emphasize there, is that we get together, we have a good time, and anytime people have problems with their slimes or they need a little bit of hands-on, I'm there for it. And that's one of the things that we really like to promote, is it's a community effort. We're a big community. We've got like how many, 70,000 members,
Some
75,000
70 some,
members,
yeah,
76,
70 some
it's a
thousand.
huge amount of Discord members. And people really, they get into it. They kind of come in, they see that we're a vibrant community. We work on stuff together, and I answer questions about this stuff and show off the tracking. So a lot of times people are like, I've watched all the videos, and I'm like, videos are okay, but if you just come in and you actually see them live, that can be a lot more convincing of like, this is the actual experience, what you'll actually see, what you'll actually have. And a lot of times people get a little frustrated at first. They don't understand how the whole thing operates. And I'm there to kind of, smooth it out, make it a little easier for everybody to kind of have a good experience with them. There's nothing
I
more fun than
definitely
actually,
remember the yoga. I love the yoga.
Wonder used to come to the
However,
yogas and yeah,
I
yeah.
do use Vive trackers, and I don't really have an issue with the occlusion. However, they are very pointy and large, so it is a bit uncomfortable to try and lay one of those.
I was
What's
gonna
funny
say,
is, oh yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah. I
yeah, no,
actually
go ahead,
got
go ahead.
Vives. I bought Vives a while back, like last year, late last
Mhm.
year. I actually bought Vives because I was kind of going. Everybody comes in and they're like, "You're slime. You're all slime." And what about Vives? And I didn't really have a good, other than comparing with Wunder Wulfe and some other, my friends. Some of my friends have Vives as well, and I would always be like, "Well,
Mhm.
here's what Vive, slimes look like," and then here's my friend who has Vives. And I've tried the Vives for myself and got some for myself because, you know, for one, it's good to test. I like to test things using slimes plus Vives together, and just seeing the compare and contrast. And I think they're good for what they are. And for some people's use cases, Vives are the go-to, and for other people, like small play space, or they just want to
Yeah.
have a cheaper alternative, because Vives, gonna be honest, they're kind of pricey.
Oh yeah,
They're kind of
no. Vive
pricey.
trackers are like not cheap, not as cheap as like other trackers, like such as Slime VR ones. Like, yeah, of course, like it will
No
be like
shade on
for
them, no
like,
shade, but just
yeah, but
be
there will be
real.
like Vive trackers for like they will be more like thing more used for the maybe the motion capture stuff. But yeah, of course, like sleeping with, I can tell you, sleeping with
Blankets,
Slime
yeah.
VR trackers is definitely better than than Vive trackers. If people do sleep,
Yeah.
like that's so much better. Yeah. Hi again, Lyra.
I know it's well, all the trackers and news sound amazing.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
been I'm gonna be honest, I've been on this phase, the very genre that really throws me back into time. And I'm sure a lot of you like know where I'm getting at, where oh my gosh, how do I say this? That you can probably relate to, but you've either seen it in animes, you've seen it in movies, perhaps in books, and mangas, but getting to experience this first-handed got me kicking my feet. I mean, like even sitting in my chair, I felt like I was like locked in. Like I felt it was surreal. But enough of beating around the bush. I present you Mecha Force VR. a highly anticipated anime, Mecha Gundam virtual reality game. That's a lot going on there. Focusing on the fast action combat and with amazing, UI that makes you feel like you are a part of this whole like mech Gundam experience. And I have to be honest, I was blasting Hiroyuki Sawano, if anyone knows what that is, Attack on Titan or all those famous series. Um, I was blasting that in my ear, and I just felt like I was fighting for something. Like I had to get in like my character arc, and because that's like that's what this game is made, and how it made me feel. The entire time, I felt like I was part of a squad. Like I was leading. I was the only one fighting, solo playing. I fought, bad guys. I've saved the world. Fought other Gundams. So honestly, this game has really done a lot on me with flexible mechanics and easy movement. Aside from combat, I'd say that this game made an experience I've never had with the feeling like a badass. The mechanics, a little bit of the experience of the game. I'm not going to give away too much, but I want to talk about what it was like having the weapons, regarding movement. Am I going to get motion sickness? Is it too much action and I'm not going to get enough? And is it really laggy? And I think the most important big question everybody's asking is it Quest compatible or is it compatible for both platforms? So to answer all that, I was talking about, before I lagged, I was talking about the map being in front and attached to the mech as soon as you get in. That detects enemies to various custom skills that you can equip. You can enhance your abilities. So when you start the game, they give you, the first set, and then customization goes beyond. That even goes for Quest as well. So you can, if you want to have lightsabers and you also want to have this big giant sword and maybe some fire missile abilities, you can have that by like they look like orbs, like ruins. So you can just grab and you just attach to the mech and you power the mech. You press start and you power the mech and you go into battle. And so most importantly, customize. And I really like this part because I felt unique. I'm gonna say it up front. Players get to obtain their very own mech. So after you do the story just a little bit, not too much, it's not tedious, but players get to obtain their very own mech, allowing you to customize and beautify your mech however you like. From changing the armor colors to weapon adjustment, even weapon colors, you get the skill trees and many more features that I'll let you discover for yourself. With that being said, fear not, because this game is available for PC VR, Steam VR, and drum rolls, as I just said earlier, Quest. Yes, Quest as well. I know, throughout the couple of times I've been announcing games, it's always been for PC, and I want to do a number. Hey. I know Meta needs to step up their game too. I'm a little so I will say that that means the best of both worlds can enjoy the same experience together. Graphics don't not change, so I did compare both. I have a Quest. I have a Quest 2, and I also played it on PC VR, so I had to check out to make sure, I'm not just speaking out of not experiencing it for myself. So graphics don't change, so don't be too worried about losing the experience. Trust me, you won't. There isn't a lag spike or any crashes that I had been testing, as I just said, for Quest and PC for this game. So I'd say it runs well, and with all the hard work put into it, I'm going to bring it up again. I am a sucker for the UI. Don't get me wrong, I love cyber stuff. Shout out to Wedding Waves. And animations, futuristic is my thing. This game did exactly just that for me. Like I said, I was in my character arc moment. I had this whole season to myself. I saved my squad and the world. There's this scene in the game where you talk to the NPC and then they bring you into a gigantic mech, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. So I was going in there thinking, I was the coolest I was the main character. And I know if you guys are interested, you can do that too. By checking out the Meta VR store and Steam, with this game going at the price of $9.99, that includes all of the future updates. So I know the developers said that the game is it's released, but they know that there's more improvement. It's not done. So when it comes to graphics or any bugs, you can join their Discord and let them know that. But you get everything else later, especially extra content alongside that for free after. And yes, that's definitely a steal for me. Though I'm not stealing, I actually bought the game, so you know what I mean. So check it out. It's a really good game if you really love Gundam mechs. It's futuristic cyber. We're talking now, so yeah, that's the game announcement for this month.
It does sound
Thank
very
you.
fun.
Yeah.
Might have to
I
check
see
that
this.
out.
Yeah, I saw like the
Yeah.
2020 video showing it. No, that's cool. Okay. Sorry, we had some technical issues, so I wasn't like fully there, but I listened a bit of it.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's on my side too. Like it's on
Oh.
everyone's side. No, we're good.
And I'm
Well,
sorry, guys. Karen wasn't able to be here, but it's okay. We
yeah,
have the spirit of Karen here
unfortunately.
guarding us.
Yeah.
I saw
Unfortunately,
him
we
and
don't
I
have
was like,
Karen,
wait.
so no worlds for this week. I'm so sad. I'm gonna be depressed now.
Don't worry, next
No
time they'll
world.
be twice as good.
Karen, you heard us.
Ah.
Karen, you heard us. Now you have to do twice the work.
I'm sorry, Karen.
Sorry. Oh gosh. Well, yeah.
Because normally you do like a
Oh.
world showcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Karen
I
do
was
world
gonna say,
showcase.
if you have that, if you need that filled, I could give you a recommendation for a world that I like a lot, that I think is really cool.
Usually, Karen comes with like recording stuff, but of course, tell us if you have a world like in mind. Like,
Recently, I've really been big into Silvarium. It's like a cabin in the wood, like a lovely, like snowy cabin, and there's all these
Yeah.
trails you can follow to little campsites along the way. There's a little hunt for little snowmen that you can collect, or snow globes. But it's
But
just this
question:
little nature valley.
Can you make snow angels?
Don't believe so.
Oh,
No, not worth it.
But it's quite a big world. There's a lot to explore. Lovely
It's
little
okay.
forest paths.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone. I guess. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wonder. Thank you so much, Lyra. Thank you so much to the Snap. If you want to join the social to be aware of like the new episodes of the Evolve show, it's also in French. So if you do speak French, you have the French version too. So yeah, follow this channel, Twitch channel, YouTube channel, all the socials. Oh, where to find Slime? Yeah, where do we find you?
Oh, good lord. A good point is Discord. We post most of our updates on Discord. I mean, 70,000 plus people right now. We have a Blue Sky that's pretty popular. We post on YouTube. We have a Mastodon. We are looking at the potential other platforms, but nothing concrete there yet.
I would like to add
yeah,
that you can
Discord.
find them on their website. There's also a link in the
Slime
Twitch chat
VR
right now, and you can also
dev.
find it on
Yeah.
the YouTube description.
Yes, website is slimevr.dev. DEV as in developer.
Thank you so much.
And if you'd like to join a
Well-
group for Evolve or the Slime VR group, of course, you can find them. If you want to join this group, you can open your quick menu, press the little pin, and you can find our group right there if you would like to join us. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Continue.
Yeah.
That's
You got
perfect.
this.
Like,
You got this.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and my left hand decided to left me. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. See you next week, and join the socials. See you. Bye bye.